What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be making a map tier list for the family side. So this is not going to be a map tier list for the game as a whole, so like for both sides equally. It's only going to be for the family side. And I'm also going to be making a map tier list for the victim side in the near future. So let's jump right into it. So starting off with Family House, this is easy S tier for the family side because of how small it is. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of Victim players hate this map. For me personally, I love this map when I play Victim because of how chaotic it is, but I know a lot of Victim players hate this map because, like I said, it's so small. And you can lock this map down pretty well as the family. I mean, if you use the OG3 for an example, Leatherface, Cook, and Hitchhiker. As Cook, you padlock the back porch door and the two front doors, and if they don't have a Connie, well, they're probably not going to get through the doors if they don't have a Connie. With Hitchhiker, you place a trap outside of the front window, so if someone tries to jump out the window, they'll get caught in your trap and most likely die if you push them down the well or when they're running towards the well, especially if you have the venom traps. But yeah, you place a trap outside the window with Hitchhiker, and then you place it at both stairs, the front stairs and the back stairs, so if they try to go for fuse, they have to use a bone scrap or a bomb squad charge. And then with Leatherface is crazy on this map. You could lock it down pretty well in basement because he can patrol 4 basement doors in a matter of like 6 seconds or 5-6 seconds. So you're forcing the victims to go through the side garden door, and they have to climb up a ladder on top of that. So you can communicate with your team and tell your team that you're patrolling 4 doors, and all they have to watch is the side garden. That's how well you can lock down this map as the family, and that's why I have this map at the S tier slot. Moving on to Gas Station, this map is either A tier for me or S tier, but I'm going to put it at the S tier slot because this is the most balanced map in the game in my opinion. Like, this map is really good for both sides, but if we're looking at it from the family perspective, you can lock down this map really well. I mean, when I play Victim, not every time, but sometimes when I go up against the Hitchhiker, Hands, and Cook, they literally triple trap the gates leading to battery and generator, forcing you to, go for fuse and valve. And if you get the fuse and valve on, Hands can just rip stall it and gets his ability back really quick. So that's one example on how you can lock down the map really well on the family side. But honestly, this map is good on both sides, but the thing is, it's all RNG based, I feel like. RNG based specifically for the fuse and the valve, because if you guys don't know already, on the Gas Station map, the fuse box and the valve can spawn right beside each other, like at the house. So like there's a spawn, the rear spawn. The fuse box can spawn in the rear of the house, the rear room, and the valve can also spawn at the back of the house. So they're right beside each other, the fuse and the pressure tank, which makes it easier for the family to patrol 2 objectives in one. And also actually no, the RNG is actually crazy for the family side on this map. I mean, even if the fuse box spawns outside near the shed and the valve spawns near the workshop, that's easy patrol as well for the family because it will take them like 10 seconds to get from the valve to the fuse box outside, which is easy patrolling for them. And then the last spawn, by the way, for the fuse box and the valve tank or the pressure tank, the fuse box can spawn in the front of the house, and then the pressure tank can spawn at the side of the house, which is also, again, easy patrolling for the family in my opinion because they're so close together. So yeah, when it comes to the family side, depends on RNG as well for the fuse and the pressure tank, like I said, but overall it's the most balanced map in my opinion. But like I said, the RNG kind of messes with that balancing a little bit, but overall, like comparing it to the other maps, definitely the most balanced map in my opinion. Really good for both sides. And like I said, I have it at the S tier slot. You can put it at the A tier slot if you want as well, but I think it's at the S tier slot because of how well you can lock it down, depending on which family members you use. So moving on to Graveyard, I'm going to have to put this map at the S tier slot. This is the last S tier map, by the way, just letting you guys know. But yeah, I have to put this at the S tier slot. I know there's a lot of maps in the S tier slot right now. There's 3 maps in the S tier, but Graveyard has to be in the S tier no matter what because of how easy it is to lock down this map. I mean, victims are confused in basement. There's like 3 basements in one. Like on this map, there's like 3 basements, which confuses the victims a lot. A lot of victims lobby dodge when they see this map. A lot of victims give up in the beginning and they DC in the beginning because they know that this map, pretty easy for the family, in my opinion. I mean, if you have a cook and a hitchhiker, for an example, all you have to do is place a padlock at both generator doors and the double pump, and then also place a trap on that door as well. And if you have a hands on top of that, hands can just watch the fuse box, because guess what, guys? The only way to get the pressure tank going is if you actually go into the generator, because the valve handles only spawn in the generator. And on top of that, the pressure tank can also spawn in the generator, making it easier for the family to patrol 2 objectives in one. And also, it's easier for the family on this map because, if I'm not mistaken, there's only 2 valve handles that spawn and 2 fuse pieces that spawn as well, which makes it harder for the victims and easier for the family. And just overall, I mean, easy to patrol. Like I said, you can, the thing is also on the generator side, you can watch both generator gates like in one spot, if that makes sense. You can watch the left generator gate and the right generator gate in one spawn, or in one spot, which makes it easier to patrol. And the thing is that pressure tank is a pain in the ass for victims on the map, because like I said, you must open that generator door in order to get the valve going, which is so unfortunate for the victim side. And then for the fuse side, though, for the fuse box, I mean, see, that's another thing. The fuse RNG is a pain in the ass for the victims as well. If the victims have a terrible RNG, or if the victims have terrible RNG, they either have to get the generator door open or the double pump door as well, because, you know, the fuse piece can spawn in caretakers, which is a good spawn for the victims. But if they get terrible RNG, they have to open a door to get the fuse piece at the generator or the double pump. And that's also another thing as well for the next objective, the pumps. They have a easy solo one they can turn on the victims, but they have to open one gate. There's only one gate leading to the double valve or the double pumps, right? Which makes it very hard for the victims because, you know, a lot of the times, you know, hitchhiker will usually patrol that area because, you know, someone can just patrol the generator easily in one spot. So usually there's always that one killer just chilling by the double pump, because guess what, guys? There's only one gate leading to the double pump, which makes it extremely hard for the victims to get through, especially if it's double trapped and even sometimes triple trapped if there's a cook, hitchhiker, and hands, you know what I mean? So yeah, this map is definitely S tier. A lot of victims hate this map, guys. I mean, that alone just makes it S tier. The fact that everyone lobby dodges this, or the fact that everyone lobby dodges this map, and the fact that everyone just hates this map. The amount of DCing I've seen when I play family on this map is crazy. So that's why I have it at the S tier slot. Moving on to the mill, I'm going to put this map at the B tier slot. A few months ago, I would have said it's a C tier map for the family side, but after playing a lot more family like these last 2 months, I'm going to put it at the B tier slot because, you know, it's actually starting to grow on me. And the thing is, you know, battery and generator side, you can lock down, by the way. The battery and the generator side, you can lock down. Hook can place his padlocks, like 1 padlock at the generator side, 2 padlocks at the battery side, and then Hitchhiker, you know, can place his traps at the gates as well if he wants. And if you have a hands as well on top of that, you can, you know, place a trap on there as well. Obviously, you can use other characters like Sissy and Johnny and all that. Obviously, you know, you can use those characters. But when you look at it from a meta perspective and using Hitchhiker, Cook, Hands, even Leatherface, you can lock it down pretty well. And keep in mind, guys, Nancy is extremely underrated on this map, in my opinion. I play a lot of Nancy on this map, and I killed it with her on this map because of how good she is on this map, with her trap specifically and her ability because of how big it is. And that's why I have it at the B tier slot as well. Even though it's growing on me, the map is big, there's a lot of bushes, and the victims have a lot of room to work with, you know what I mean, when it comes to chases and all that. But I think the main reason why I do have it at the B tier slot, because obviously, you know, you can lock down the battery side and the generator side, but if they get that battery side open specifically, dude, that's like a whole nother map in itself because of how big that side is. So if they get that battery side open, the generator side is not as big, but if they can get that battery side open, the victims, yeah, man, there's a lot of loops in there, infinite loops where you can't even catch them. So good luck if you're playing family on this map and they get the battery side open. But also, RNG definitely plays a huge role. I mean, RNG plays a huge role like on every map, but on this map specifically, if the valve or if the pressure tank spawns at the top of the mill, it's going to be very rough for the family. That's why I have it the B tier. That's why I have it at the B tier. If the pressure tank spawn was moved, maybe I would put it at A tier, maybe. But as of right now, with that pressure tank spawn specifically, gonna have to put it at the B tier because you have to go up like what, like 2 flights of stairs. So there, by the time you go up there, you know, let's say the victims turn on the pressure tank. By the time you get up there, it's going to be a quarter way done already. And by the time you go up there, turn it off, come back downstairs, the victims can be going for another objective, such as the fuse, the gen, or the battery. The fuse spawns are actually pretty good for the family side because they did fix it before. I don't know if you guys remember. The fuse box used to spawn at the overgrown area right beside the pressure tank, which was honestly a benefit for the family in all fairness. But now it spawns in the mill. So like if the fuse box and the pressure tank spawns in the mill, there you go, man. 2 objectives in 1, but you have to go up like 2 flights of stairs to turn off the valve handle, right? So, but then again, like I said, having those 2 spawns in the mill would honestly benefit the family because someone can just sit in the mill and just wait to see if anyone goes for the pressure tank and the fuse box. The other fuse box can spawn at the machine storage, which is good for the family, and the workshop is good as well for the family because it's so close together, all 3 spawns. But yeah, the pressure tank as well can spawn all the way at the overgrown as well. There's 2 spawns for the pressure tank all the way at the overgrown area, which can make it difficult for the family as well because, you know, if the fuse spawns in the mill, the pressure tank spawns at the overgrown area, you could put pressure on both ends, right? So it just depends on the RNG, you know what I mean? But overall, map has been growing on me, having a lot of fun when I play this map on the family side. I don't like playing this map consistently, but I don't mind playing this map on the family side anymore. You just have to watch out for that pressure tank spawn, and you have to watch out for the battery side specifically because of how big it is over there. So that's why I have it at the B tier slot. Moving on to Slaughterhouse, this map is either A tier for me or B tier, but I'm going to put it at the B tier. This is high B tier, by the way. I'm putting it at high B tier, almost hitting that A tier. I think the reason why I put it at B tier is because of the battery side. If you guys don't know already, if the victims open up the battery side, good luck getting them because guess what? 2 killers can't even get a victim at that loop in Slaughterhouse because a barricade can spawn in there, which is easier for the victims to loop the killer. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 6 gaps the victims can work with back to back to back. There's 3 gaps at the top and 3 gaps at the bottom, which makes it easier for the victim to loop 1 killer, even 2 killers, man. I've done it a couple times when I played victim because of how many gaps you can work with. You can work with the crawl spaces as well. You can work with the barricade. You got a lot of room to work there as the victims, which makes it harder for the family. But when it comes to the family side as well, though, I mean, the generator you can lock down pretty well. And usually as the family, you know, Cook places a padlock at the sliding door for battery and both generator doors. And most of the time when I play family on this map, I feel like the victims usually go for the battery side most of the time because, like I said, you can loop a killer there easily. And the thing is, you can hold the killer hostage in the on the battery side for the whole game with the amount of gaps you have in there. But in terms of the generator side, if they open up the generator side as well, there's some good loops in there for the victims as well, which makes it tough for the family. If you don't have a chaser on this map, just saying, if you don't have a hitchhiker or sissy on this map, good luck if they get a door open because you're not going to be getting them in the generator or the battery because of how many gaps there are. So I'm just letting you guys know that you definitely need a hitchhiker or a sissy on this map. But let's talk about the fuse spawns now. The pressure gate spawn is good for the family because if the victims don't have saboteur, they can't make it in time. The tool storage spawn is good for both sides because, you know, for the family, obviously we're talking about the family for this video. For the family side, the tool storage spawn is not that bad because you can patrol the left side of battery and the fuse box spawn at the same time. But the best spawn, in my opinion, is the generator spawn because if it spawns at the generator, all you have to do is place a padlock at the gate and put a trap at the gap leading to the fuse box because the only way they can get to fuse box or generator is by going through a padlock or taking it like a champ and going through a gap and stepping in the trap. And then when it comes to the pressure tank, hear me out. I think the pressure tank on this map is the downside for family. So like if you go for the pressure tank on this map, when I play victim, I usually go for the pressure tank on this map because of how much pressure it puts on the family immediately. If the pressure tank spawns at the holding pen, that's a really good spawn for the victims because you have to ignore the fuse box and like the left side of battery and sometimes even the generator to turn off the valve. And also another pressure tank spawn is in the middle. Pressure tank spawn in the middle is good for both sides. Obviously, it's good for the victims because they have a lot of crawl spaces to work with and they have a well to work with as well in the middle. But for the family specifically, it's a good spawn as well in the middle because they don't have to go too far to turn it off. And then the last spawn is the best spawn. The pressure tank spawning at the sliding door is the best spawn because you can watch the sliding door and the pressure tank at the same time. Like I said before, it all depends on RNG. You can honestly make a case that this map is A tier, but for me personally, this map is B tier because of the fact that if they get that battery or generator side open, they can literally hold the game hostage because of how many gaps they can work with. And like I said, all depends on RNG as well. But this is the one map I was actually thinking about. You know, I was about to put this map at the A tier slot, but I put it at the B tier. But leave a comment down below and let me know, where would you rank the Slaughterhouse map for the family side? A tier or B tier, or even S tier if you guys think so. But for me personally, I think it's a B tier, high B tier, and you can make a case for it to be A tier. Moving on to the last map, which is Nancy's house. I'm honestly going to put this map at the B tier slot. Honestly, I think this is probably like a middle B tier, possibly even low B tier. I think you can honestly make an argument that it is C tier because of, you know, how Wyatt is in the game now. But it's funny because we have 3 maps at the S tier and then 3 maps at the B tier. The reason why I have Nancy's house at the B tier slot is because the RNG can be huge for the family. That's why I have it at B tier. If the RNG wasn't big for the family, this would be easy C tier for me. But if you guys don't know already, as family, sometimes there can be 4 objectives on one side of the map. So the fuse box can spawn beside battery, the pressure tank can spawn beside battery, and the generator can spawn beside battery. So you can watch 4 objectives in one area. One person can literally watch 4 objectives on Nancy's house. That's how crazy it is for the family. The downside of this map, though, for the family side, as of right now, is definitely Wyatt, because if you guys don't know, Wyatt can just throw a knife at the generator and it will turn off immediately. And on this map, the generator is out in the open. And if the generator spawns at the garden storage, good luck trying to counter Wyatt, because all he has to do is throw a knife at it. Connie can just run upstairs, or Connie can just run up the hill, use her ability, and adios, they're gone. That's how fast the victims can leave on this map, and that's why Cook is very important on this map. Also, the fuse box can spawn at the, like I said, the battery. Fuse box can spawn at Johnny Shack. It can spawn in the cellar and the balcony. Balcony is a really good spawn for the family because they have to open up a door to get to the fuse box. The cellar spawn is actually pretty good for the family as well because they can watch 3 doors and the fuse box at the same time. The worst spawn, in my opinion, is Johnny Shack because, you know, if the pressure tank doesn't spawn there as well. By the way, pressure tank and the fuse box can spawn right beside each other at the Johnny Shack, which is good for the family because that's 2 objectives in one. But if the fuse box is the only one that spawns at Johnny Shack and they try to go for fuse, you have to leave an objective to go watch that fuse because it's alone on one side of the map. And when it comes to the pressure tank spawns at the battery, which is good for the family at times because, you know, it's right beside the battery. It can spawn at Johnny Shack and it can also spawn at the garden storage. When it spawns at the garden storage, it's by itself. Nothing can actually, well, for the family side, the generator and the pressure tank can spawn right beside each other at the garden storage, you know, which is good for the family as well because they can watch, you know, the generator and the pressure tank at the same time. But yeah, looking at it overall, I mean, dude, Wyatt just changes the whole game for this map because the gen is just out in the open. Even if gen spawns at battery, man, you can't really do much about it because the guy can just choose fight you and throw it at the generator, and Connie is just at the front and uses her ability and they're gone. That's why I have it at B tier, by the way. So if Wyatt never existed, possibly I would have put this map at the A tier slot because it's easy for the family. I think it's easy. If there's no Wyatt on this map, I'll be honest. If there's no Wyatt on this map, I think it's easy for the family to lock it down, to be fair. Not easy, but there's ways to patrol it as family, which makes it efficient. You know what I mean? And harder for the victims to do stuff. But if there's a Wyatt, yeah, it's tough. And yeah, if you have that 4 objective RNG, that it's very tough for the victims to leave through that if you have that four objective RNG. And like I said, you can make an argument that this map is A tier or C tier. I'm just gonna put it in the middle and keep it at B tier, you know? Just looking at it is just, I'm looking at it from the victim perspective as well, just to see how hard it has been for me. But like when I play as victim on this map, I usually play as like Ani, I would say, and then like I said, we do that strat. I'm sorry, that's just how the game is now on this map. Everyone's doing that strat where Wyatt just throws it at the gen and then Connie just pushes up. And the thing is as well, it's not like, even if Connie doesn't get that ability off at the front gate when Wyatt throws his knife at the generator, you can literally hold a family member hostage at the front gate because there's that infinite loop where no family member can even get you. Even if Hitchhiker has wireframe, he's not getting you at that loop because of how bad that loop design was, man. That loop design at the front of the house, the gate, dude, if you're a cook or if you're a character that can't go through gaps at the front gate, might as well just stand there because you're not getting the victim at that gap because you have to go all the way around to keep up with them. And all they have to do is click one button to go through a gap, and you have to go all the way back around to get them. So that's definitely a benefit for the victims on this map. That Wyatt strat is filthy. That Wyatt strat alone is why I have this map at the B tier. Well, and the four objective RNG and the Wyatt knife play on this map is definitely the main reasons why I have this map at the B tier slot. But that's my map tier list for the family side, guys. I think the only adjustments I would make, honestly, the only thing I would make different here, maybe I would put Slaughterhouse at the A tier slot, maybe, and maybe even Gas Station at the A tier slot. But I'm comfortable with this list. You know, I shared my reasons on why these maps are at the S tier and the B tier slots. Well, leave a comment down below and let me know, what is your map tier list for the family side specifically? Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and take care, guys. Have a good day and see you in the next one.